are already live on Zoom, and we have already our first attendees, which is great. Thanks everyone who has already joined, who was so quick. And welcome to our webinar, a very special webinar on a very super interesting topic, guys. It's, as you may know already, it's studying computer science in Germany. And we have special guests from Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt, and I will introduce him shortly. But before I do that, let me introduce first myself, and then we will turn to the main part of our webinar. So my name is 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘳𝘕, and I will be today the moderator / host of the webinar. So I am the person who will be answering your questions in your beloved Q&A. I'm sure you already know about this function of the Zoom. You can find it in the below part of the Zoom interface. So there you can send your questions, and throughout the whole webinar, any questions you have, and I will be glad to get back to them as soon as possible. And then towards the end, when Professor Dr. Riener finishes his presentation, we will have a Q&A, live Q&A session, which will be really great. So stay tuned until the end of the webinar, because it's going to be very interesting. So let me now, by the way, guys, you cannot use the chat function, but I would also encourage you to keep an eye on the chat, because from time to time, I will be sharing some interesting and important links for you regarding this program or generally studying in Germany. So keep an eye on the chat, despite the fact that you cannot use that, and actively use a Q&A. So let me now make a really short presentation about MyGermanUniversity and about generally some interesting details about studying in Germany. And then we will turn to our main presenter and to this program that will be presented today. So just a second, dear friends. Let me share with you my screen. So yeah, studying computer science in Germany, not to take a lot of your time, let me briefly introduce MyGermanUniversity. So, who we are. So MyGermanUniversity is Germany's largest database of English taught study programs. For now, actually, if you go to mygermanuniversity.com, link to which I will share in the chat, you will see that we have, actually for now, it's a typo, we have over 2,300 English taught study programs that you can see on our study finder, and it's really largest database of English taught study programs. So our main goal, I would say, is to help international students like you on their way towards studying in Germany. And there's 3 basic ways in which we are doing that. So one of the ways you can see on the screen, actually, you can see the excerpt of our study finder. So on our study finder, which has lots of filters, you can go and find all those English taught study programs that are best fitting for you. There are various, really numerous filters which you can use, and I encourage you to use and to find really the best fitting program in terms of your interest and in terms of background. I will share the link to the study finder also shortly. Another way of helping you is through our comprehensive articles. So for now, we have over 70 comprehensive articles regarding various topics when it comes to studying in Germany. For example, ranging from living in Germany also until to the uni-essays. So we have also topics on scholarships, articles on specifically technical universities, or some rankings, or even studying medicine, etc., etc. So when you go to our website, and on the left-hand side, you can see the navigator, which will help you to find the topics of the articles and makes you easy to navigate through the articles, and you can find various really, really comprehensive and informative articles on this or that topic. The third way of helping you is the one that we are experiencing right now, namely the webinars. So we approximately have 150 webinars per year, and the topics are various, like application strategies, uni-assist, visa, etc., or the webinar like today, the subject webinars. So today we have computer science, but we also have some other topics general, like engineering, political science, philosophy, biology, chemistry, etc., etc. So all these webinars, all upcoming webinars, you can see on our webpage in the section of webinars, and you can sign up for them and join us whenever the time comes. And yeah, we are based in Hamburg in Germany, but it doesn't mean that all of us are there. We are in different parts of the world. Some of our team members are based in China, some of our team members are based in Spain, so of course in Germany, and in Brazil. And now I'm also not in Hamburg, I'm in Germany, but I'm in Bremen right now. So and we are counseling in different languages, so not only in English but also in Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, Italian, and even Chinese. Okay, so yeah, now towards our topic, studying computer science in Germany. Let me introduce briefly our guests, and then I will make short introduction, short presentation about some interesting details. Then we will jump into the presentation. So as I said, we have a guest from Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt, Professor Dr. Andreas Riener, whom you can see also on the screen, who is joined us, and we are happy for that, very happy for that. And he will today present about master's program in user experience design. Before we jump into this presentation, let me tell you two words about some interesting details about when it comes to studying in Germany. So there are two databases that I would like you to know about. So for those who are more interested in German taught study programs, then I would say Hochschulkmopass would be your stop. So when you go to Hochschulkmopass and try to find the programs in computer science or related disciplines, you will find 1,590 degree programs, and only 216 programs would be in English. But for those who are more interested in English taught study programs, then I would suggest Study Finder and MyGermanUniversity as their first stop, because here you can find 333, which is a really nice number, accidentally, 333 degree programs for computer science or related programs. Out of them, you will find 46 bachelor programs, and out of which 38 would be English only, and 287 master programs with 232 English only. So this will be for those who are interested in English, specifically English taught study programs. And I'm sure that most of you today are relating to this category. So how we help you to find the right university or right program? For those who don't know yet what to expect from Germany when it comes to computer science, I would suggest you to use our subject page, to which also I will link shortly in the chat, so keep an eye on the chat. So on our subject page, we have different subject pages, and of course on computer science as well. You can find the general information, like what are the university rankings or program rankings that are teaching computer science, or what are the tuition fees in computer science that you would expect to see in Germany, or what are generally the application admission requirements or language requirements that you would expect when it comes to Germany. So this is not about particular program, but about generally computer science landscape, I would say, when it comes to Germany. So this is really nice first step for those who don't know yet what does it mean studying computer science in Germany. After that, what I also would suggest is that, of course, you should look for the right university profile and study program, which is really critically important. But what I see sometimes that students only judge or guided by rankings or by cities or fees, which is not always correct, I would say, to be guided only by these largely quantitative measures, because so you know that the rankings are really great. Of course, those universities which are in top ranked are really nice ones, of course, but it doesn't mean that other ones are really bad in terms of quality or something like that. It's not true, because even more, I would say that the university which is not, for example, top 100 in the ranking, maybe even the best one, or the program may be best fitting for you, because rankings do not really capture all those details which are important for you guys. So you have to really dig deep into the program and find which is the best one for you, because I would say that in Germany, it's not only, let's say, universities in Munich or in Berlin that are the best ones. All cities or towns have really nice universities with high quality programs. So I would say don't be guided only by the names or rankings or etc. Dig deeper into program and find the best one that fits your interest the most. And finally, I would like to tell you that you should know at least about two types of universities that for now you should know about, I would say. The first type of university is Universität in German, or university. So if you go to our study finder, by the way, you can control for the programs that, for example, that are offered by only this type of university. And if you go to our study finder, you will see that there are 143 programs in this subject of computer science or related subject that are offered by this type of university. And another type of university is University of Applied Sciences. You can see several names in German that fits into that. So there are, if you go to our study finder and you control for that, so you want to find computer science program or related degrees, fields that are offered by this type of universities, you will be able to find 56 programs in this subject. And then, of course, question arises. Georgi, you are telling us about these two types of universities, but we don't know what does it mean. So what is the difference? Is there something that this one is better or worse, or what is the difference? So I would say that there's no worse or better. Both are great, but the difference that you should know about, the main difference I would say, is that the focus, for example, if you are more into research theory, then I would say it's about universität or university. But if you are more into application and practice, then University of Applied Sciences would be your stop. This is the main difference that you should remember about. And last but not least from my side, so another suggestion for you guys when you're searching for the right program for you, yeah, maybe you are searching for computer science, but when you, some strict wording should be avoided. Sometimes you should be a little bit flexible. For example, don't write only computer science and don't think that, okay, these are only programs that are named computer science that are really about computer science. By doing this, you may miss some really those programs that fit you the best. So program may be, for example, as you can see, speech and language processing, or focus on cybersecurity or media engineering and technology. So there can be some different wording. So be careful with that so that you don't miss the program of your dream. Okay, so that was all from my side, really brief overview. And now we are moving to the best part of our today's webinar. Again, I'm introducing Professor Dr. Andreas Riener from Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt, and he will present the program in master's program in user experience design. So you can see it's also not called computer science, but still it's maybe the one that fits you the best, guys. And you can see now we are in South Germany. I'm in the north. You can see also my part, and we are moving now to the south. So I will invite Professor Dr. Andreas Riener now to take the floor. I will stop sharing my screen right now. And yeah, the floor is yours. I'm staying in the webinar, guys, just to repeat it once again, and I'm happy to answer your questions already. So the floor is yours, Professor.
Yeah, thank you, Giorgio. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here and present you our program. But before I'm jumping into the master program user experience design at our university, or it's a University of Applied Sciences, as previously explained, I'd like to take a few words about, or time to give you a bit of background regarding our university. And I can maybe also share a link with you if I can do so. Yes, I think it should work. 𝘗𝘢𝘵𝘬, this is the main entry point for our website, and on that website you can look for general information about the university. We have right now 6,500 students. We're growing to about 10,000 students over the next years, which means for all of you that we introduce and start new programs every semester or every year. Right now, we have about 75 degree programs in graduate and undergraduate course programs, and teaching mainly in German, but also in English language. And there's also some programs that have a mixed German-English education. So there is a lot of opportunities for you. I have another link which I post into the chat, which is the overview of our programs. And when you have a look at this page, you see that we are structured in different departments or faculties. Computer science is one of the 4 faculties, and I'm talking about our faculty in the rest of my presentation, of course. User experience design is, or was, the first completely English taught program in our faculty. Meanwhile, we have added other English programs like the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence undergrad program, which started this winter term for the first time. We will add a cybersecurity program next year. We start first with a bachelor and then add a master course on top of it, and both will be taught in English, as far as I know, or as soon as planned so far. So it's always a good opportunity for you also, and a good chance to come back and have a look at the program overview pages, or follow us on social media to see updates, as we have to introduce new programs also to reach our target of 10,000 students in the next years. What I wanted to say before we dig or jump into this master program is that every program has its own requirements regarding required grades, language requirements, and other requirements. So this is not only taking place at our universities, but of course cross universities, meaning you have to look, or have to have a careful look on all the program details to see if your requirements meet, or your qualification meets the requirement, so to say. I will give you a few examples for the master program user experience design. If you have more concrete questions on that, then it's better to talk to the corresponding program director or study services at the respective university. Of course, I can try later on in the Q&A to answer all the questions that you might have with this program, but of course, I'm not aware of all the other requirements that different programs might have, or different universities might have. Okay, so let's jump into my presentation, and I have brought with me a number of slides. I will not talk about all the slides, as there's a lot of details about the program, and I think it's more important to have some basic, some general overview for you, and then if you have more specific questions, or are interested in the program in more detail, we can talk later on bilaterally, or you can send me an email, or you can have a look at our documents, which I will also quickly and briefly introduce you. So user experience design, some of you might not be aware of this term. I will try to explain it in a few words a bit later, but it's a classic master program, which is fully taught in English, as I said before, and it requires a bachelor degree as an entry. But this is not the only requirement we have. The requirement depends a lot on the content that the program is trying to communicate you, to educate you. So we will have to talk about what is the orientation of the program, to see also why we have these specific requirements that we have for the program. And I can maybe quickly show you another slide to explain what we have in the program content-wise. So it's not a very classical computer science program. It's more on the application side, of course. This is also caused by the type of university. We are a University of Applied Sciences, and Georgia explained this before. We have a lot of labs. We have practical-oriented education. We do a lot of group work, a lot of practicals, projects, and so on. So it's really a practical-oriented education, and people and most students really like it. This program is also research-oriented, which means that if you graduate in user experience design, you get a Master of Science, and you're able, or you're allowed to continue with a PhD if you like to do so. On this slide that is currently shown on the screen, you see that we have a lot of modules that are not classical computer science, but they're applied computer science related. And this is also what the aim of our program is. We want to teach you, of course, in-depth knowledge, but in applied computer science, and the direction is towards usability and user experience research. So we have elements like quantitative, qualitative research. We teach you usability engineering, but also programming or prototyping, user interfaces, augmented virtual reality applications, natural user interfaces, speech, for example, speech interaction or gesture interaction. We have a module which qualifies you in audio and video processing. We also have projects. We do a lot in project management and also in design strategy, design management, and all these modules that combine all the knowledge from the pure research-oriented modules towards a more general understanding of how the different expertise connect to each other. So this is basically what our program is about. So there's a lot of very interesting content. It's not pure programming. This is what I have to say, but we require our applicants and also our participants in the program to have programming knowledge, as we don't have time in a master program to teach you programming, but we require you to be able to program. But, and this is also very special for our program, we do not have all students that have the same qualifications, of course. Our applicants came from different parts of the world. We try to work in an interdisciplinary, intercultural way. And it also means that students that come from all over the world have different expertise, have different knowledge, also have different maybe interests. We try to combine these as good as possible in doing group-oriented teaching and teaching in smaller groups. And we try to form groups that that complement each other. So, for example, if we do a small project, then we try to have maybe 3-4 students in a team. One is an excellent programmer, another one is an excellent designer, the third one is an excellent usability researcher, and the fourth one is has good knowledge and experience maybe in project management. And these 4 together form a team. And by working together, of course, the programmer also communicates some of his knowledge about programming to the rest of the team. And the knowledge of the designer in turn helps the programmer also to better understand how to design a program, or how the information architecture might be set up to not interfere with the design of the interface, for example. So this is how the teaching, or the way of teaching that we try to implement in our program. But now let's go back to the second slide that I showed you before. So this is kind of the content, and now let's spend a few minutes on some, let's say, some organizational requirements, because I've seen that this is something that all study interests, all people interested in our program, they might have, and also the grade requirements is something that you would definitely like to know. So the first thing is we start the program every semester in summer term and in winter term, and we have mixed classes, which means the new students that start in the summer term, next summer term, for example, which starts March 15, they mix up with the old students that have started in winter term, and they form together a group. So the new students work together with the old students, and this is another. So this mixture also makes really sense, also to mix up with all the with all the competences that different people have to better complement each other. Here is also given the application period, and you see if you like to study or to start with your studies in Germany in next summer term, at least, or in particular for our university, and the same is true for all other universities in Bavaria at least, then you have a couple of days left for your application. January 15 is, in our case, the application deadline. Here are some requirements. I will skip this, but much more important is that the user experience design master requires an assessment test or an aptitude test. And the assessment test, basically, it's not an interview, or it's not a typical test. It's kind of a test or a check of documents. So the first requirement is to have a bachelor degree. The grade itself is not so no particular grade in the first place is required, but it will be included in the ranking with a weighting of 60%. So we do a ranking, of course. We get a number of applications, typically 400 to 500, and we have 20 places per semester. And then we do a ranking based on the document check or the assessment test. And one aspect is the first degree, so which type of degree you have. Do you have a computer science or a media informatics or an electrical engineering degree? They all will qualify you to apply. But in addition, you need to have subject-specific knowledge. And this is basically, this is only checked by sending or by handing in documents. And we check if you have previous knowledge in let's say in design and in programming, as well as practical experience in developing interactive systems. So it means we only allow students to start with the Master's Experience Design program that have some at least basic knowledge in design, in programming or computer science, and have some practical experience in designing user interfaces or programming apps or whatever, have worked in a design agency, have worked as a web developer, and so on. So we would like to have students that really have worked and have some work experience, as we know that this is a really an important requirement. And very important here is the last paragraph. Without this knowledge, you may apply, but you will never pass the assessment test, because we need these basic competencies in order to work with you together on the same level. There is no time in a master degree to teach you basics in design or in typography or in sketching or a programming language. But of course, you have different competences, you have different previous knowledge, and you have more in one area and less experiences in another area. That's totally fine. The assessment test itself, I will just briefly say some words about it. As you might wonder, how do we check the documents and what do we require? Basically, we only require you to fill out a so-called curricular analysis form. This is a spreadsheet, and in the spreadsheet, you just fill in your personal data, your demographics, and then you fill in, just as you see it personally, which previous experience you have in some basic modules in programming, which you see here, or in design, and in practical work or other experiences you have. And this is basically, you don't need to provide documents for each of the entries you make. It's just let's say your personal feeling about how you're doing and what competencies you have. It's really just on that level, because if you check yourself and you feel yourself not qualified, then maybe you would honestly fill the form out correctly, because you don't help yourself if you get admission and then have no idea what we talk about in the first week in the semester. So it's really just we leave it to the applicants to fill it out correctly, and we want to keep all the document work and so on at a low level for all of us. And then once you have filled it out, this form, and handed in, then we do a check of this analysis form. We check your other documents that you handed in. We do a ranking, and based on the ranking, students get admission. So this is basically the same at all universities for all programs, but the specific part here in our user experience design program is that we do not check only the first grade and do the ranking based on the grade. We really check also competencies and compute a combined grade, which results in the ranking 10. If you'd like to see more and to learn more about the program and its contents, then I refer to the study and examination regulation. This is something that you find for every program. Most likely you find it online. At least in our university, you find all the study and examination regulations for each program online. And you can see what is written there regarding the assessment tests in detail, how it is conducted, for example. You see also details about the master thesis, how this is composed, the final grade you get, how long the program takes, what are the requirements, and so on. So you can really have a look at it before you finally apply, because it's important to know what the requirements are and also what you can expect then once you have graduated, of course. A second thing that you find along with the study and examination regulation, and I can also post the link to it as you don't have a chance to click here on the link. I can post it in the chat later on. Along with the study and examination regulation, you find an annex, which is also online. And in the annex, you see all the modules that are taught in a program. And this is not, so of course, this is specific for each program, but you can also find it for all the other programs at our university and typically at all universities in Germany. You see here the module, for example, research methods in HCI is a module which is 4 semester hours, is a lecture style of course. It closes with an oral exam or a written exam. It might change from year to year. It might be possible to add some virtual teaching forms in this module. And here you get also the weighting for the final grade and the credits you get for this course, which gives a rough estimation for you about the efforts you need to put into this module. And you find the same for every module in the program. Basically, you see with this annex the structure of the program. You don't see which module is taught by whom and in which semester, but you see all the modules with all the forms of examination and the efforts that are required. So this is also a very useful resource if you like to learn more about the contents of a program. And if you even interested to learn all the details and get into all the details of a program, then we also have a program description or a module handbook online. This is a longer document, which about, I would say, 80 pages or so in length. And in this program and course description, you see for all these modules that we've seen here on the overview, this is only 1 page. It's a 3-page document, I guess. You see for all the modules, the detailed information about prerequisites, contents, expected outcomes, the module, so that the lecturers in the module form, the type of examination, the workload, literature requirements, and other things. So you find all the details in the program and course description for all the modules, so you can really make yourself informed about a particular program. And this is something that I really recommend you to have a look into a program before you apply. If you're not quite sure if this is really the right program for me, do I feel comfortable with the program contents, because the title of a program maybe is not saying much about what is finally in the program. So please have a look at the course description, and then you would have a better overview, of course. Okay, so then I'll just give you a number of background information before I'd like to stop with my monologue and allow you also to to ask some questions, and I'm happy to answer. Hopefully I can answer all of them. So what I like to give you here is a short overview about the elements of the UXD master program. I've taught a lot about all the organizational requirements so far for the program, but also for the university in general. Now going more towards the user experience design program and give you a little bit of information about it. So what is our strategy? This would also give you a better idea what the program is about. We know that we have, so computer science is around since 50 years or so, and it's typical computer science program are much targeted towards programming, algorithms, data structures, databases, and it's all these classical types of also formal methods, of course, and hardware and compiler and things like that. So these are more theoretical oriented. We are on a higher level with this master program. We target this towards the latest developments also in digital technologies, in apps, in social media, in all the different types of interaction devices that are around since the last 5 to 10 years, like gesture interfaces, speech interaction with Alexa, brain computing, whatever, eye tracking, and all these technologies. And we know that we need to interact with these technologies every day. With our smartphones, we sleep with our smartphones, we use it 24 hours a day. So it's important that the interaction concepts are smooth, it makes fun to use it, and so on, and develop new user-friendly interfaces and products. This is the main idea behind our program. Why is it named user experience and user experience design? So for those that are not that firm with this topic, they might have a look into ISO standard 9241. Here, user experience is defined, and user experience means basically what a user feels when interacting with a system, but not only while using it, but also the anticipated use of a system before actually buying, for example, a smartphone. When you never had an iPhone and all your friends have an iPhone and they are so positive about that phone, then you might buy one yourself, and you have some anticipated perception about what would happen when you have the iPhone in your hands for the first time. So we have to make sure that these perceptions that you have are finally also fulfilled with the product once you have it. So it's lasting from the first day, or from the first point where you think about you want to have something until you really use it, and also after having used it, also something is left, namely either positive or negative. Say, okay, it was really cool to use it, but it was kind of whatever, there was some problem with an interface, or it did not work when it was cold outside, or the battery does not last long enough, and so on. So there might be some problems that reduces the experience you have with the product. And with user experience design, we try to figure out, of course, what is good and try to make it even better, and also try to identify weaknesses, drawbacks, problems, and try to turn it into something positive. This is the main aim of user experience and user experience design, of course. And this can be done on different levels. It can be done by implementing a product. It can be done, of course, by just interviewing people and drawing sketches, or creating click prototypes, click dummies, or doing user research in the field. So we have a lot of different methods that we can apply. And that's why it is a field that allows people to to gain more experience with different backgrounds and different levels of experience in programming and design. As for some aspects of user experience design, we don't need to design anything, and for other aspects, there is no need to program at all. So that's why it's really an interesting field, and it also includes a lot of interdisciplinarity, psychology, and also intercultural skills, and that's what it makes so fun for me also to lead this degree program and to teach in this degree program. So if we go a couple slides more to the end, we see, let me quickly check. I think I wanted to show you this slide. It's kind of a repetition what I said before in written text. Students that enroll in the program, they will gain knowledge in interaction design, in human factors, in ergonomics. Then they would gain experience in multimodal and in multimodal interaction, and also in HCI, of course. We give them some knowledge and teach and educate them in audio and video processing, maybe also in game design. This could be an elective. And we have also a focus on augmented and virtual reality, also not on a very deep programming level, but more on the how we can use AR technology for prototyping, and how we can use virtual reality as a new level or a new mode of testing user interfaces in VR. So we are on the application-oriented side, as said before. Maybe I can give you just before I end the presentation, an overview about the structure of the program once you are studying. Here is an overview of the timetable from last summer term. It will be similarly in the coming summer term. And you see our master programs are full-time programs. It means you should have at least 40 hours a week time to invest into the program. It's not aimed for part-time studying. So you should really study it 3 semesters full-time. So we have 2 semesters with content or with modules, and the 3rd semester is dedicated to the master thesis then. We have teaching in presence typically. Okay, in the last 2 years due to COVID, it was also partly taught remotely, but when we are back to normal, then it's on-site presence teaching on our campus, typically Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. There might be exceptions. So sometimes you also have courses on Saturday, block courses typically, or we might have some courses later on the day, like here, this elective entrepreneurship coaching. You have to enroll in some or most of the modules that you see here are mandatory, but there's also some electives you can choose from on the current slide on the timetable from last summer term. We had here one elective about user experience participatory design. We had another elective here on interaction design, and the entrepreneurship coaching, which I already mentioned before. So you just select one of these 3, of course. And then we have some projects, which you see here. All projects are typically on Tuesday afternoon. There are 3 projects in parallel. Of course, you select only one. And then we have some group work, like here. This is exercises in multimodal interactive systems. There's one group here on Wednesday morning. Another group is, I don't know, I don't see it yet here on the scale, on the timetable, maybe on a different day, of course. And then we have interaction design practical here on Friday. There's also 2 groups, and you're just enrolled in one, of course. So this is a brief overview about how it would be taught on campus, and this lasts from March 15 to end of June or mid of July, and then we have an exam phase from mid to end of July. Yeah, I think with this, I'd like to stop with my presentation. We like to to educate you in the program and to form personalities and to make you an innovative person. We also have a lot of students that continue in Germany with a PhD, which is also possible with this user experience design master program. And then here is the final slide that I have for you, which is a direct link to my website and also my email address. And the academic advisor, Simon, is also always available for questions. And we also have a specific website, but this can be directly found from the link that I posted before. Good. With this, I'd like to stop with my presentation. I stop also screen sharing. And then, yeah, I think we can switch to the Q&A part of the session, and I think 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥 will moderate this.
Yeah, great. First of all, thank you very much for this really comprehensive presentation with lots of important information. And so actually we have lots of questions. So let's jump into them, not to lose our time. Okay, so first question, let's help Mohammed to answer his question. So I think mostly you addressed all the questions, but maybe some students joined a little bit later. So let's ask once again, maybe repeat some things. So how user experience will be useful in other domains like data science or machine learning? Mohammed asks.
Yeah, this is a very general question, and I don't know exactly what the rationale behind this question is. So maybe he can then send a follow-up question later on. What I think is that user experience design is a domain that has influence in many other directions. And we see this also by interdisciplinary working with other programs here in our university, with digital business or even with technical design and so on. We as a user experience designer, we are kind of connecting other competencies with the user. This is the main aspect and the main focus of user experience design. And if you have a machine learning expert, for example, designing a new AI-based interface or system or function, then of course there's a user that will finally use this system or this interface or this technology. And this user might have whatever, they have fear in using it or have problems in understanding how it can be used or what the response is. So you need a user experience designer also to do the reality check before you finally turn it into a product on the market. So to sum up, or the long story short question, user experience design definitely has also or is useful for any other domains. And if you are thinking about, okay, let's now, or I finally would like to become a data scientist, but before doing so, I'd like to learn more about the user, then user experience design would be a great program you can enroll in. I hope these questions, this answers your question, but if not, then it's okay to send a follow-up even by email or so.
Yeah, great, Professor. Thank you very much. Let's move then to another question. So this person says that I want to study computer science and AI in English at Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt. In the language requirements, it says that I need A1 level in German as of the first semester. Does it mean that I have till the first semester to give proof that I have A1 level in German?
Okay, thanks for the question. So I only can answer it now for our user experience design program, because there I know how it's exactly working. It might be, I'm quite sure that it's the same for other programs at our university, but I'm not 100% sure. So please, if you like to study CSAI, then please ask the study services or the program manager directly. But as it is for 𝑈XD, you have to provide the proof of German A1 until the end or by the end of the first semester. It means our language center offers courses, German language courses, and you can take part in one of the courses for free during the first semester, and by the end of the first semester, you have to provide the proof. Why do we need this, you might ask, also as a follow-up question. It's basically, it has nothing to do with the program itself. It's only to make sure that you're able to find your way in Germany, to go shopping, to the hairdresser, to a bar, and so on. So, and also to be interested in learn about our culture a little bit at least.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I prove that. I support that. Okay, thank you very much, Professor. And another particular particular question is that this person said that I studied programming and designing principles in 4 years bachelor's degree. However, I've been working as a data analyst for 2 years. Do I qualify for this master's program?
I would say,
yeah.
I would say definitely. So I don't know exact contents of your program, but from the title, I would say you're qualified. So the program qualifies you. If you have worked as a data scientist or data analyst, then also you can have done different things, of course. But if you're interested in the program, then you might have at least between the lines learned something that interests you in the program. And that's why I would say, yes, you're qualified. But of course, if you fill out the aptitude test, you see if the requirements, if you meet the requirements while filling it out, then this also answers the question basically. But I would say formally you would definitely be able to apply.
Great.
Qualified.
Thanks a lot. And also, we got several questions again regarding, of course, the language, English language requirements, and particularly about IELTS. So do we need always IELTS? Or, for example, is it also okay if the student has had, for example, all the bachelor total in English? Is the student exempt from English language certificate, or IELTS is needed? And what is the exact grade, minimum grade that is needed? Thank you.
Yeah, this is also something that is a question that might be better directed towards the study services, because I'm basically responsible for the academic parts of the program. But as far as I know, it's not required to have IELTS. Also other forms of proof qualify. And I know that if you have a bachelor degree in English, this of course qualifies you for the English proof, and there is no need for an additional test to provide the proof.
Yeah. Great, thank you very much. So guys, when you have these kind of specific requirement questions, I would suggest to visit the homepage of the program, and there it's always clearly stated what are the requirements in terms of language or in terms of background. So there you can find it really, really easily. So Professor, another question, maybe one from the, after that, one more question, that's it, we will finish. So what kind of programming languages are used in 𝑈XD? This is a really broad question, but let us tackle this maybe also.
Yeah, so the answer is also kind of open, because it changes, or it might change from semester to semester. I can give you, or I can, whatever, provide you with a list of programming language that we use in the 𝑈XD Bachelor, because this is kind of the entry for the master, of course. There we teach Java, of course. We teach prototyping in Arduino. We have visual programming with V4. Then students learn all the client and server side script languages for web technologies. We don't have Python directly as a course, but they might have, or they might enroll in a Python elective course to learn also this type of languages. JavaScript as a script language is also another form, and of course all the web-based things like HTML, CSS. It's not a programming language, of course, but so this is the scope in the program, and Unity for augmented virtual reality. And then more specific programs for in computer graphics, they typically use tools like Blender and things like that. So this is not programming languages, I know, and basically this is also what we require for the master programming, master degree, some basic knowledge in either language, because if you have experience in C or C++ or C# or whatever, then you might easily adopt the new languages. Which language will be used for a concrete project? This is typically decided not by the lecturer, but by the team itself. So we leave it open. If you have experience in this particular area, then we don't need you to change to whatever, another program, another tool, or another language. So it's always better to use what you have. So it's kind of open, I would say.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Professor.
And we don't check just as a small follow-up. We don't check for specific competence in whatever Java or C or C# or Python or Ruby or Perl or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. And maybe the last one for today. So this person asks, what is the scope of PhD after doing this program? What you would say about that?
Yeah, this is also a very, very general question, because and I can also answer it only from my perspective. I have a research team which is called the Human-Computer Interaction Group. I at the moment have about 10 to 15 PhD students, and they are all enrolled in an applied computer science PhD program, focusing on human-computer interaction in any direction. So it can be more qualitative research, more on the user research side, or also more experimental prototypic-driven research. So this is all possible. Of course, if you want to do some very, very design-oriented, then you can also do a PhD, but it might be not so easy, and I would not be a qualified supervisor then, but this is not a problem. It can also be other persons or other teachers in the program that can supervise PhDs. I personally have a computer science background, and that's why I'm supervising PhDs that target a degree in computer science or applied computer science. But the scope can be rather broad. You might know that for University of Applied Sciences, typically they don't have their own graduates or PhD program, or that they are not allowed to offer PhD programs and at its own. But it's, yeah, this is kind of a complicated thing to explain. Typically, we do cooperative PhD programs with other universities, but due to a change in the system, we as a DHI, we might be able to offer PhD programs from next year on with a focus more on mobility. So like whatever, anything in the area of computer science, user experience design, usability, future mobility would be qualified also for a direct PhD in our university. But I would say first thing is a master, and then if you think that you are interested in doing more academic-oriented, research-oriented things, then there's still time to think about a PhD.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor, for all these wonderful answers, and once again, for your wonderful presentation. We have quite a lot of open questions still left, but as I skimmed through, I saw that they're more general type of questions. So that's why I would suggest our attendees, first of all, if you have these questions which are really particularly connected to this program, you have the emails in the chat. So send the email, or also, of course, when you have specific questions about requirements, the best would be to visit the homepage, which is also in the chat. If you have some other general questions which are related to other programs or generally studying in Germany, you can see it now in the chat. I also put our email where you can send which you can always send us, and our team members will get back to them as soon as possible. Other than that, also, I want to say thank you very much for all those who stayed with us. Oh, yeah, Professor?
Maybe just before we close, I've seen that one question from Sarah. She was asking about dual studies for the master.
Oh.
Maybe I can, as this is also something that is not so clear and it changes also very often.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So just very basically, because our program, the Master User Experience Design, can also be studied in dual mode. So it basically works like the following. You apply for the program as a normal student, and you find a cooperating company. You work along or during the studies with this company. You also have to write the master thesis in that company. But this is typically, it's completely individual. So there is no whatever common process or joint thing. You find a company and you get admission for the program, and once you have reached these two steps, you can just sign up for dual study mode, kind of. So it's not so simple, but all the details for this is given at 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘯𝘨, and I just try to find the link and post into the chat for those that are interested in that. 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝑗, and at this website also the dual study mode is explained in details. And also we have a website or a specific part on our study services in our website, which also explains to dual study models.
Great, thank you very much for this information as well, this additional information. You can see, guys, already in the chat the link. So yeah, that was really great. Thanks a lot. I also learned lots of things which I didn't know, of course. Thank you, Professor, for your time, for your great presentation, and for really answering all these questions so comprehensively. That was really great, and I just will repeat that for those who still have some questions. All the emails and links are in the chat, and you are more than welcome always to email Professor, or their other team members, or us if there are general questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for those who attended the webinar and for your questions, for being so active. It was really, really nice to see these discussions. And yeah, last thing I would say that if you liked our webinar and you liked what we are doing, also it would be nice to hear your feedback about this particular webinar, and you can see direct links where you can give us feedback, and I will always take into account your concerns for the future webinars as well. Professor, would you like to add anything else from that you would? Yeah,
thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the chance to introduce our program, and I hope to see many of you applying for our program. I'm really interested to have people joining us from different parts of the world with different backgrounds, and I'm trying to do all to make it happen. And let's see how it turns out in the end.
Yeah, from the chat, I can say from the Q&A that there were lots of people from different countries, so which is really great. And I see many of them interested, and hopefully, and I'm sure, not hopefully, but I'm sure you will see many of them applying for the program. So thank you very much to everyone, and have a nice evening or day or morning, depending on where you are joining us from. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.